Hey, what's up, cats and kittens, and shout out to all my cerebralites. It is she, the Cerebral Diva, and I'm back with another episode of You Say What. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. Um, Secondly, You Say What is your opportunity to chime in, to leave your 2 cents, and to be a part of the discussion that's happening here on my channel within my community of cerebralites. Having said that, let's talk really quick, and I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible. I can't guarantee you that I will be. Sometimes I just go on a tangent and I cannot stop myself. So we're going to talk about the Queen's Supreme Court, and we're going to talk a little bit about the gag order. And I'm trying to think about which one I want to talk about first. Now, this is, first of all, let me say this. This is going to be a constructive critique. I'm not trying to tear Madison down. I'm definitely not trying to tear Khia down, but I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion. And I think that there's room for growth on both shows. I think that both shows have a missing element. And as sad as it is to say, I think that the other possesses the other element. You know, it's Wonder Twin powers activate. They need each other in order to work. So, the gag order. I'm going to go there first. So the gag order is really the SAG order. It's just a sad show. It's hard for me to watch. It's not funny. It's bitter. It's acrid. It's just not a very good show in my personal opinion. So Michelle Brown, AT Alien, who I'm going to call the puppet master / Pimp Michelle, because Michelle is pimping Khia right now. She's pimping Khia big time. And it's funny to watch because Khia swears she is so street smart and she's been in these streets and she knows what's going on. But she doesn't have the business acumen to secure a venue on her own. Why do you even need Michelle Brown to do something like that? If your name is Khia, clearly your name should hold more weight in these streets than Michelle Brown. So why are you even associating yourself with Michelle Brown in a way that's allowing her to sort of be a quasi-manager? Because it's really the role that Michelle has sort of taken on, that she sort of bullied Khia into allowing her to do. So Michelle is basically creating these business opportunities for Khia. And I don't know if they have any paperwork. I would hope that they would have some paperwork given the circumstances that happened with the Queen's Court. But Michelle has really finagled this situation between Madison and Khia into a cash cow for herself. So she's basically massaging and finessing Khia into doing exactly what she wants to do, so that she's allowing herself being Michelle, to capitalize off of the demise of the original Queen's Court. So she secures this venue for Khia. I forget the name of the venue. I'm sure all of you have seen Khia and Michelle going live. They've been going live for a couple of weeks from this particular venue with the white couches. And Khia says that she's going to be hosting the gag order live every Monday night. Okay, great. It's a new format. I'm here for it. I'm interested to see exactly how this plays out. So episode 1, and I believe episode 2 should have been last night or 2 days ago. I'm not sure, but I haven't gotten any alerts on YouTube, so I'm not sure if it actually happened. So episode 1, Khia goes live. It's riddled with technical difficulties. Now, for a person who is averse to technical difficulties, as Khia has indicated by walking out and by the demise of the original Queen's Court, it's amazing to me that somehow she's able to push through technical difficulties. The same issues that persisted on the Queen's Court persist now in her own show. Even before she went into the venue, the live venue, on her YouTube show, she was still having technical difficulties. She couldn't get the camera to work. She couldn't get the sound right. She couldn't flip the camera correctly. She was constantly having technical difficulties, but she would laugh them off, push through them, and work it out. The same thing she should have done when she was on the original Queen's Court, and who knows where that show would be had she have been able to humble herself in that particular instance. So she's at this new venue. I believe she's charging people $100 to get into the venue. When you get into the venue, now the venue looks really, really large. It looks like it could probably hold up to about maybe 500 to 600 people. And that's how it looks on screen. So I can't say in person how it looks. And there's a lot of mirrors. So mirrors have a tendency to amplify the size of a room. So she has this really huge venue. And when the event begins to take place, it's like the people are peppered. You know what I mean? There's like, where the venue could hold 500 people, she may have 35 people. And I'm being very generous when I say 35 people. So there's 35 people, and because the venue is so large, it looks very sparse because there's, you know, 2 or 3 people here sitting in a group, another 3, you know, just different permutations of people sitting around in this venue that looks very, very sparse. So there's so few people that Khia decides to go around and greet people and say hello and ask people their names and where they're from, which was a very nice and very personal touch. However, it's very easy to make that personal touch when you only have 5 people. Now, if there were 500, maybe not so much. So she goes around, she does a meet and greet, which I thought was a very sweet thing for her to do. And let me say this. I don't just want to talk about the bad. I thought Khia looked really pretty. I thought that her hair, her makeup, and even her outfit, I thought she looked really, really pretty. So I will give her that much. So she's going around, she's doing the meet and greet, and then she goes to start the docket. And as she begins the docket, there's all sorts of glitches, all sorts of technical problems. Same problems once again. Same problems she couldn't push through. And I'm just sitting here watching it and saying, this is the same thing that you said, same problems that you did not want. Why didn't you guys work out the kinks before you went live? So anyhow, she goes through the docket. She is being very interactive with the audience. She's asking them to issue sentences and asking them, you know, to sort of give their input on the cases that she's trying. And so I thought that was a very cool dynamic between the host and the audience. Very much sort of on par with what Wendy Williams does. So I did like that aspect of the show. What I did not like is the fact that the show just does not have the right energy. It's just not good. She just needs, first of all, $100. Are you paying $100 to see Khia? Because I'm certainly not paying $100 to see Khia. I'm not paying $100 to see Beyonce. I might pay $100 to see Oprah. That might be the only person that I'm going to pay $100 to see. And I can't even just see her for my $100. We need to actually have a conversation. I value my money, and I'm not just throwing $100 at someone just because, you know. So no, you're not getting $100 from me. And Khia is trying to go live every Monday night from this venue and charging people $100. If it's not $100, you guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe her quoting the number of $100 somewhere. Now, if this were a traveling show, right, where Khia was traveling to different states, you know, she was in New York, in D.C., in Miami, in L.A., in Chicago, in Boston, in Texas, and, you know, if she were doing a show that was traveling, I think that she might be able to sustain charging people $100, because there would be a novelty, being that people were, the show was coming to them, and because it's something that's unique to that market, I think people would be willing to pay a premium. But if you're sitting here local, and the only fan base that you have, I do apologize for that alert, you guys, the only fan base that you have is your local audience, then people aren't going to be paying you $100 every single week to come out and see you. So I just think that it's a ridiculous, I think that honestly she's doing herself a disservice. Open up the doors for free, let people come in for free, get a cut of the bar, and call it a day. You know, people are not going to pay $100 to see you. So anyway, moving on from that, I want to talk really quickly about the Queen's Court, the Queen's Supreme Court. Love the Queen's Supreme Court overall. Initially, the show, there was this whole battle for the bench that was supposed to be happening that clearly isn't happening. It looks like Madison has settled on Tiffany Pollard to be her co-host. Initially, I was gung-ho about that. I thought Tiffany was a great fit. She's sort of like, she's like Khia, but likable. You know, Tiffany is funny. She's filterless. You know, she says what she thinks for the most part, but she still does it in a way that makes you like her. She's still relatable. For me, at least, I like Tiffany. However, when I watched the show the first week, I was really, really excited about the energy that she brought to the show. I thought she was the perfect fit. But then in week 2, the show that aired most recently, what I realized is that she's really not that funny. She's really not that quick. She doesn't have the quips. She doesn't have the one-liners. And maybe that's really just sort of a learning curve that she's going to have to go through. I will say this, that in Khia's absence, what I've noticed is that Madison in particular has definitely elevated her game in terms of being the host, the moderator, You know, she's taken on a lot of the sort of the humor on the show. I think she's doing a really, really great job. But even still, Madison is really good at physical comedy. Sometimes she's really good at being snarky, but I don't necessarily see her delivering the one-liners that Khia would deliver and saying some of the things that we, giving us the shock value that Khia gave us. So I don't really get that from Madison, and so I'm really looking to that from Tiffany, and Tiffany has yet to deliver that. Now maybe it's because she feels connected to a lot of the people that they're talking about, but in addition to that, maybe she just doesn't have that. That's really not her wheelhouse, so to speak. So what I think that they need to do if they're going to keep Tiffany on the show is to, when you pull up these cases on the docket, we can't just have New York Tiffany Pollard thinking off the cuff. We have to write some one-liners for her. We have to sit down with her and sort of give her some funny things to say, have to steer her a little bit in the right direction just until she gets comfortable enough to do it on her own. And so maybe we help her develop that muscle or hone that muscle where she's actually so we have to teach her, or to to, I don't want to say teach, but we just have to sort of massage her into being a little bit more a bit more crude. So I think that it would definitely help if they had someone who was helping to write for Tiffany just in the interim phase while she gets comfortable in that new role, if that is going to be her permanent role. I think the energy is perfect. I think the energy she brings to the show is amazing. I just think that she lacks the quickness that you need in order to respond off the cuff. That's not her brand. She needs to have someone writing for her. So with that being said, if I were judging the two shows, if I had to give both shows a grade, I would definitely say, I'm not going to even give them a grade. If I would have to say there's a winner or loser, I would say thus far the Queen Supreme Court is winning. Not only is it winning because the energy is much better, it's funnier, it's also winning because when you look at the show, Madison is not hurting for sponsorships. You know, I mean, she had so many sponsorships in the most recent episode, it almost came to the point where it was annoying. And I'm like, wow, like every 15 minutes or so, she's doing another sponsorship. And that tells me that people would rather have their brand associated with Madison than with Khia, because we don't see Khia getting those same sponsorships. So anyhow, that's enough about what I think. I want to know what you guys think. So please make sure you comment below. In addition to commenting, make sure you like, make sure you rate, and make sure you subscribe. Once again, it's me, the Cerebral Diva. As always, in closing, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. And I will see you guys again soon. Have a fantastic day.